Welcome back to Limitless and Unfiltered, guys. Today we have a guest on the show, and actually, this is our second time recording because I don't know what happened to the first one. So we're gonna run with it. We're gonna, just get right into it. I'm gonna let him take the stage first and give you guys kind of a rundown of what makes Angel Angel, and take it away, my friend.
Yes, Maria and people listening. Angel. Yeah, this is our second time recording this episode, and I do believe like that's like a good example of like how life is. Like sometimes life just makes us, like just take a step back and redo things again. So this is how that was meant to be. My name is Angel. I am from Venezuela. I'm a 32-year-old guy. I remember that the first time that we recorded this was explaining you, Maria, like how it is complicated, kind of like to define who we are, at least to me, because there are like many faces to who I am. I am all of these labels that society puts you, like you're an engineer and like you're like this and that. But at the end of the day, like how can you define you without external things? So to me, I am a human being, as we all are, and I am aiming to fulfill my purpose in life. As I said, I have all of these external labels. I work in the oil and gas industry, but I also have my purpose. I have my business slash passion. I have a wellness center. I work as a mentor. I mentor people who's going through anxiety or who is feel like is stuck in life. I help them go through their journey, helping them with the tools that I have used in my own journey. So I do believe like that's who I am in a nutshell. And like now I am exploring this side of me of like podcasting. I started my own podcast like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, so like this is like a new version of me that is kind of like coming to life.
I love that. What is the name of your podcast?
It's satsang. You know what a satsang is? Yeah, so satsang is like these conversations that the gurus would have with their people like back in the years where like they would sit and just share wisdom and like talk about deep things and like life. And so like we kind of like worded it to like feel more casual. Instead of satsang, it's chatsang. It's like we're just talking about casual things but with like some kind of wisdom behind it and good intentions. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'll have to
Yeah.
check you out. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Angel and I met at Awaken Your Highest Self with Danny Morel, and that is what we want to talk to you guys about today because for both Angel and I, we had some pretty profound experiences at this event. And I know, I'm sure, just like myself, Angel has had many people ask him, like, how was it? What is it? Because, not a lot of people don't know what it is or essentially what goes on there, and we wanted to bring that kind of into light here and in our podcast and let you guys in on our experiences at Awaken. We both interacted there, but we also had, although we shared some experiences, which we'll talk about in a second, we also had our own individual experiences. And I think it's so important for people to listen to what could happen at a retreat of this kind. I'm going to call it retreat just for the sake of it. And yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys because I know it's been pressing questions that have been asked of like, what did you feel? What did you experience? Like, what is it all about? And I know that when I originally said I was going to Awaken, I had just kind of said that it was a 3-day breathwork intensive, which essentially that is part of it, but it is so much more. Like so much more. And you guys know me, I'm all into the woo woo and I'm into the personal development. Like that is literally what drives me. And so this just seemed fitting to go. And I'll start with my experience because I'm going to ask you yours. I had zero expectation of what to like going into it. Zero. In all honesty, I went to Awaken because my ego was telling me that Danny was talking too much, blah, blah, blah. Right? When he said I got hit with an ad and the ad said, this is 30 years of therapy in 3 days. I was like,
Is that true?
okay. Yeah. I
How
was
is this
like,
even possible?
exactly. And as someone who's done therapy, like multiple forms of it, throughout the years, I was just like, that is a bold claim. like bold, bold claim. So it was uncomfortable for me to go because I did decide to go by myself. And it was more so that it was like I had zero expectation going into it because I just felt like, how can this be true? Like 30 years of therapy in 3 days. Like, I don't think that that's possible. Prove me wrong, essentially, is what I wanted to see. And, throughout the course of the first couple of days leading up to the event, they have this like work sheet. I don't know if you saw it on like our chat, where like, oh, write down your like journal experience of your intention of going there. And I remember looking at those questions, and honestly, I was like, I'm not going to fill this out because I have no idea what my intention is. And as I was on the plane going to Austin, Texas, it was like, okay, I know that I have some guilt around motherhood. That's what I'm going to go for. And that was my story. That's what I stuck to. I was like, I'm going to go to release the motherhood guilt and stop putting myself last like I have always done, and realize that I need to put myself first. Like, all of that was kind of like in my head, but going into the event, zero expectation. I had no idea. I was very skeptical. Yeah, it then changed into something completely different, but that was initially how I decided to go there. So for you, Angel, how was that like decision? What made you say like, yeah, I need to go to this event, or I want to go to this event, and what was your intention around that?
What's the total opposite to you? Like my expectations were high. I really had a lot of expectations because like I have been following Danny for like a good like 2 years, I think, and I have heard about that before. Like, yeah, this event is like 30 years of therapy in 3 days. So I really believed him somehow. Like I really felt connected to his message and like what he does. So somehow I felt like what he was talking was true. It was like I felt like this is real. So like I just want to put myself there and experience it. So my expectations were really high, and had like a long ass list of what I wanted to work on and like what my intentions were. I'll have to take you back to the beginning of this year. And like as in now we're closing 2025, which is great. And today is the 21st of December, which is the
Mm-hmm.
solstice. Is like a very special day. And I am glad we're redoing this today because the energies are completely aligned. So at the beginning of this year, I started like really strong. My journey was to help people, as I was telling you at the beginning. Like I started a mentorship program, and I managed to sign up more than 15 people,
Amazing.
and like we went through like a 6 week journey of transformation. After that program ended, I was in Brazil. I went to Carnival, and Carnival season kind of like took me off track very much. I felt like that trip just like took me out of my path, and then I felt like really disconnected to my purpose, to like what I was building with my community, with helping people, and I couldn't go back to it. After those 6 weeks, I was like, okay, like I feel like I need to take a break from helping people because I don't feel like I am being like aligned with this version of myself, and I didn't feel it like genuine. Like, okay, like I am
Mm-hmm.
not in like the best place to help people now. So like I just felt like I needed to take a step back. And then I start like doing my own journey of like, okay, like I have to figure this out. Like what is this that I am feeling like? Why am I going back to these patterns that take me off track?
Mm-hmm.
So like all of this year, it's been like me reconnecting with like that side of myself, and like getting back on track after that carnival trip. So I have been forcing myself to take action, and I'm like, okay, like let me just like take action. I have to do this because I know this is my purpose, and like I am here for that, right? So back in, I think it was in August, I saw Danny like posted about this upcoming event on the 21st of November, which is actually like a month
A
ago,
month ago,
actually.
yeah.
And that day was my birthday. And so like I was like, oh, like this event it's on my birthday. Like what a good way to spend my birthday than going into like a transformational event. So I was like, okay, I am just gonna put it out there, and like if I am meant to go, I will go. Work wise, like I work on a rotation, like a month in and a month off, so it's like kind of complicated for me to plan things because like
Hmm.
sometimes the works can like they ask me to stay longer. So like I didn't know if I was gonna be able to make it, but my intentions were like since like August, like I wanna go there. And back in October, like the end of October, like things were coming closer, and I was like, okay, like if I am gonna go, like this is the time to plan it, right? So like I asked my supervisors for like my time off, like, hey, I am I gonna be able to be off on for like November the 21st? And then they approved it like Monday morning, and I was like, oh yes, I am gonna be free, but now like what am I gonna do on like my time off?
Hmm.
And after like 5 minutes, I go on Instagram and I saw Danny was live. And I connected to his live, and then he was asking for people to join live with him. But I was like 5 minutes out from like a work meeting, and I'm like, I don't know if I am gonna have the time to talk to him, but I sent the request anyway. And then Danny accepted like one person, and
Hmm.
then that person couldn't connect. And then he accepted our next person, and that person couldn't connect. And then he accepted me, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is coming!" Like what? And then like we just talked on that live, and like I told him about this, like, "Hey, I do feel like I need to do things, like I need to work on my project, but I am not acting on it." And then he just like did his own thing, and like he said like, okay, like he took me to like a deep journey of questions about like parents and my relationship with money and so forth. And then he's like, hey man, you know what, like just like come to this event. It's on the 21st. Come here. We have a online event in like a week from that moment. And I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, this is the sign that I needed,
That you
like
were waiting for.
things
Yeah.
are, yeah, so like things are lining up for me to go there. So like I really felt it in my gut since like months before, like I this is the place where I have to go. And that call with him was like the final confirmation, plus like things line up at work, like they told me to be that I was gonna be off. So I was like, hey, this is it. I am going. So I booked my trip to Austin, but 2 weeks before that event. So like I had chance to settle down and like to work on my intentions. So like
Hmm.
I stayed like 2 weeks before that weekend, building up that momentum of, okay, what am I gonna be working on? Like just preparing myself mentally and energetically to go through it. So that's how it all started.
I love that. So completely different, completely different journeys, right? I went in like,
Yeah.
meh, whatever.
But like I am now curious, right? Because like you're saying that you felt it like more from like, okay, like you gotta prove me wrong. But what really called you there? Because like that's like a very kind of like, okay, like a superficial kind of motivation, but I do feel like it must have been like something deeper that called you there. Is that the case? Yeah.
100%. So I've been also watching Danny for I think like 4 years now. But for the last two, I've seen like the Awaken events that he's promoted, and for the last 2 years I've said like I really want to go to that. And I've always kind of, well, why would I do that? The ego comes in, the logical brain comes in, like why would I take time off myself? Essentially the things that I said that I wanted as an intention to put myself first and go. The prove me wrong was definitely, I guess, my fear of like, if this works, what do I have to feel? Because if I'm being honest with you, at the beginning of November, I went to a retreat with my online business out in British Columbia, so on the opposite side of Canada where I live. And that was like my first solo trip after becoming a mom. And even though it was technically a retreat, like a business retreat, and I was hanging out with people that I kind of knew through social media but had never met in person, it turned out to be more of a healing kind of retreat and like a connection and community, like all the things that I guess I had been craving for but didn't realize that. And it was there that I realized like I have always said that I'm an extrovert and I love talking to people and I love, connection, which is true. I love doing that. But I've always shied away from like taking time for me because I've always suppressed what I feel. So whatever comes up when I'm alone, when I'm journaling, when I'm, trying to meditate, like all of those things, I don't like what I feel and I've always just like logically suppressed them and then moved on to the next activity per se. And so it was in that first retreat at the beginning of November where I was like, whoa, something needs to change because, there was a moment where we all kind of went out and did our own thing, journaled, whatever it was from the activity that we had just done. And I felt so nauseous, like physically unwell. I was like, why do I feel so nauseous in this? And I didn't know the answer to that. I just knew that I didn't want to feel in that moment. Like I didn't want to journal. I didn't want to go deep within myself. And I suppressed a lot of those feelings, but it was kind of like the door kind of creaking itself open to like, this is what you need to do. And you need to stop going, go, go, go in your life and living in your masculine energy, because I've been living in it for my entire life. Like start to allow yourself to feel. And that was the first kind of like, something needs to change. That was the beginning of November. And as the weeks went by, I felt like I was struggling so much in my motherhood journey with my kids. I have a 5 and a 4-year-old, and my 5-year-old daughter was like my biggest trigger, like such a trigger. Everything she did, everything she would say, the tantrums that she would throw, and she was throwing more and more tantrums. And I was like, what am I doing wrong as a mom that I'm causing this in her? And it was like a light bulb moment that I was like, it's my frequency, it's my energy of whatever is going on, because I had no answers at the time of like, why am I projecting that onto my daughter that now she's projecting that onto me? Like I already knew that something needed to change, and that like if all the original things that I was doing were great, but I needed more. And so yeah, I looked at it, came up at the right time when I was like struggling with my daughter. I had just put her to bed. It was late at night and like it was a struggle just getting her to sleep. And I was laying in bed and I'm like, why is this so hard? Like I chose to be a mom. Like I love them, but why am I feeling so disconnected from my role? Like it's almost like I was trying to chase something outside of it, and I was like, like I don't want motherhood to be my only thing. Just like you were talking about at the beginning, like we're multifaceted people and we have external labels, but then internally I was like, why is there such a struggle here? And so when I just started to like scroll on social media, and in my head I'm like, oh, I'm just going to create some content for my page. And I ended up, that's when Danny's thing came up. And so yeah, egotistically it was prove me wrong, but deep down inside I knew. Like I knew that I needed to go and break open whatever I had started at the beginning of the month that led me to feel like, whoa, like I am so misaligned in my motherhood journey, and this is not how it's supposed to feel. Like I knew that I was going to essentially feel in this, and so I pushed myself into that discomfort. I didn't want to do it like at all. So my ego stepped in and said, well, it's probably not going to work. And that's where the prove me wrong comes from. But deep down inside, there was like a little fire that had already started at the beginning of the month that just kept saying, you need to be there. And I can't really explain like what else drove me other than that, just that spark that was in there that's like, that's the place you need to go. And it was in the middle of the night that I turned to my husband and I said, I know we're about to go to sleep. I said, but I'm gonna buy the ticket to Awaken.
Randomly, like,
Yep. Yep. And he's just like, okay. And
okay.
actually it was a transfer of a ticket, because I had originally bought the ticket. This is how the universe works. I had bought the ticket for 3 months before Austin, when I think it was in August or July, whatever. He did Awaken in Anaheim in California. And I had signed up to go to that one. And I had friends that were going, and I knew more people that were going to go to that. And I was like, great, we'll go and experience it all together. And the universe just did not align for California. And I was really bummed out for that. And then
That
in
was
retrospect,
before your retreat.
that was, yes, before the retreat. So before, I went to Vancouver, Anaheim had kind of appeared. And now in retrospect, when Austin came up, I literally like on the way there, I'm like, I'm like, California did not work out because I am so aligned energetically with Texas. Like I love that state that I'm like, this is exactly where I need to experience this. Awaken is in a place where I'm also energetically fired up. So it was like everything aligned perfectly as it should, which you and I know that that's exactly how the world works. Like everything happens perfectly for us. And yeah, I guess that's it. Honestly, Angeles, it's like that little spark that started in Vancouver that allowed me to feel the discomfort where I was just like, I'm gonna just dive deep into the discomfort. And that's kind of a personality trait that I have is like, if I'm gonna go all in, I'm gonna go all in. I don't like tippy toe things. Like, no, I'm going. So yeah, that's what led me to essentially just say fuck it and go.
Interesting, interesting. So
Yeah.
this comfort thing, like how would that show up? Like how would that feel? What was it like a mind thing? Like physically you would feel some kind of
Yeah, so when I would try to sit, and I'm still practicing this, but like when I would try to sit and just be instead of thinking of like I have to do so many things. Even like journaling for me has completely shifted after Awaken because journaling for me used to be like a laundry list of things to do. Oh, dump this into your journal. Oh, think about this into your put that in your journal. It was always a logical thing, and now journaling has become an emotional thing, which is a completely different journaling experience than I've ever had before. So what would happen to me was I would sit there and sometimes it would be like a physical response, like I would feel like my stomach hurt or like oh I have a little bit of a headache or I'm hungry. Like it was always things that were trying to distract me from being present with myself. And then sometimes it would just literally be like a rush of emotions. Like I would sit there and it was almost like it was trying to come out and I would be like, whoa, that feels so gross, back down. Right? I would never allow myself to like actually feel it. And, through our breathwork experiences, I realized why that was the case. And we'll get into that. But yeah, it was always, mostly it was like my logical, like, nope, you're starting to feel shut down. Yeah. So it's crazy. Yeah. So talk to me. Let's get into Awaken. Talk to me
yeah.
about your first like aha moment, your first like breakthrough, because we had multiple, but like your first breakthrough at Awaken.
I had a lot of aha moments during
Mm-hmm.
Awaken, but the first one was about my past relationship, as we were speaking before. Like that was the moment, like same as you. I really had in mind something that I needed to work on, which was like my relationship with my mom as well. Because during the healing the masculine and feminine energy event that was like an online thing, I saw like my relationship with my mom from my childhood being like very wounded. So I was like, okay, like this is what I need to work on. And on the first meditation, and guys, this was like day one, like AM.
Yeah. Very early.
Yeah, exactly. So I am there and like he's like guiding this core cutting meditation to like cut the cord with past relationship or past versions of yourself or with anything, right? So I had in mind that I needed to cut the cord with my relationship with my mom from my childhood. And when I am ready to cut the cord, like as I do this, like my past relationship just came with like my ex,
Wow.
like the person that I thought that I was gonna get married with and like that I was gonna have childs and I thought that that relationship was gonna be for life.
Hmm.
So we broke up like 5 years ago, and I felt like I let her go like way back in time, but I didn't know I was still holding on the relationship because you have like two things when like you are in a relationship, right? Like three things actually, like you, your partner, and your relationship. So like that's bonded. Like there's like three things that are connected. So I did my work with my partner, with my ex-partner, like I healed her, like I let her go, but I never saw the relationship as an entity that I had to work on as well.
Hmm.
And like that's what that showed me. And I was like, oh, I never saw this. And I have been struggling all of these years to be in a relationship because like I never felt like I was ready for a relationship, and like any kind of relationship would like trigger me. And I have been experiencing just like open relationships and like this kind of dynamic that felt like genuine at that time and like what I wanted to do. But as in now, like I see like all of that freedom and like all that openness was coming from like a wounded part of me
Oof,
that
that's
I
good.
so like now I don't see that in the same way, but I honor that part of my journey, of course. And like now I see like, hey, like this is why maybe like I haven't been able to connect in a relationship like deeply, because I have been just like holding on to this idea of my past relationship. So like that was a very painful, like I really felt like, oh, I needed to say bye to that idea of, like this working out.
Hmm.
And that was my first aha moment, like, whoa, I didn't know this was here.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think to feed off of that, it's interesting because I think for all of us, if we were to do a poll of everyone that attended, that was probably the common theme is that you think that you're going to experience something. And then when you allow yourself to feel and to get into it, something else completely different comes up. And you're like, whoa, why is that even in the field? Like I thought I had released it. I thought I had worked on that. Like, why is this coming up? And your body doesn't lie. And when you really allow yourself to like get into it, that is what's coming up. And it's amazing that you've realized that that's exactly what you needed to cord cut, because similar experience to you, I went into that cord cutting meditation thinking that I was going to cord cut an old version of myself, because that was what was related to my intention. And what came up for me very early on in the meditation was my dad. And I was like, well, I don't understand why my dad is here. Like, I tried to fight that vision off, and I almost wanted to like open my eyes. And, it's funny because he knows exactly how to like guide the crowd. And I remember about to open my eyes, and he said, "Don't open your eyes." I don't know if he actually said it on the microphone or if it was, me. I don't know what it was, but I felt like it was his voice, and I just kept my eyes closed because I was fighting it. I was like, why is my dad in this vision? Like, why am I experiencing this? Guys, by the way, we're not on drugs while we're doing all of this. Okay. I know
Completely sober, completely
yeah,
sober. Yeah.
this is gonna sound like I don't know, we were doing stuff. We were not doing anything. We were all sober. But yeah, he came through in the vision, and I remember like feeling sadness, and I felt like fear, and I felt like all this. By the way, like I have a great relationship with my dad. Actually, he's downstairs. He might be listening to this as I speak. Great relationship with my dad. Like, I can't complain about it. Were there things in my childhood that I took away from his parenting that I no longer do with my kids? Yes, I think that's just the law of life. But I can't say that like I had a traumatic childhood experience, so I wasn't understanding why he
He
was
was
at the
coming out.
forefront. Yeah. And then it was just like all of these feelings of like pressure, of like having to perform, of like, and then I'm like, where is this even coming from? And I then saw like it was like around him, and I could see like, there was a time in my like early teenage life where I bought, without my parents knowing, I bought like diet pills, like weight loss pills. And it was like a vision of me opening the drawer and they were there. And I remember that because that was my room growing up. And I'm like, oh my God, like all of this. Now I'm like bawling. Okay, now my eyes are closed. Now I'm bawling. I'm crying because I'm like, I get it. I get why he's here, because I'm still attached to my worth is in my productivity. Like the more I performed, as I don't know if it's an older child thing, like the first child thing, the fact that I was a first child and female, like having to constantly perform or feeling that way. And then all of the comments growing up in a Latin household of, body, of like, if you should work out or you should lose some weight, and all of that came up during the cord cutting. And I'm like, how have I still been holding on to all of this pain that I knew I had but thought that I had worked on? So similar to you, I thought I had released all of that years ago. And when my dad comes up in the cord cutting ceremony, I was just like, wow, I still hold on to that. And it's funny because I have always deep down inside and known that I haven't let that go, because I pick my image apart all the time. Like if my skin is not flawless, if I don't like the way that I look in the mirror, I don't like the way some clothing fits, and I've always been so mean to myself. And it's something that I said as a mom I would never want my daughter to experience. So in retrospect, yeah, I understood why my dad was coming up in the cord cutting, but it felt so real, like to see him through that ceremony, that I was like, this hurts, but at the same time I'm fine. Am I finally letting go? And when he told us to cut, it was like a full-on release, like a full-on release. And I didn't know how that was going to play out later, because I'm like, okay, it's great, like I'm cord cutting here, but like, am I actually letting go? And it was only until I came back from Awaken about a week after that I went to the mall with my husband. The kids were in school, and for the first time ever, I went into a change room and I did not hate myself looking at myself in the mirror. So for me, that was like a confirmation of like, oh my God, like you truly did let that go for the first time in your almost 36 years, you know? So, like you, the aha moment came an hour into into day one. And it was just like, I remember thinking to myself, a little bit scared, like, do I really want to go through day two and three? Because he had said it was going to build one on top of the other. I was like, this is already painful and draining, you know, emotionally draining. So yeah, that was pretty intense. Yeah,
And
pretty
like
pretty intense.
I am glad you mentioned that, because about healing being draining and painful, because like that's how healing is, you know, like sometimes healing is it's not fun, you know, and then it's not
Hmm.
like all rainbows and sunshine. It's like it hurts. Like it's like you gotta put your work on and like really go through things that you know you have to go through, but like you don't have the courage to like do it,
Hmm.
and it's painful. It's really painful. So, but after that, is just like so freeing, you know, like after
Yes.
you go through those experiences, it's like, oh, like a new version of yourself, just like it's born already.
Born. Yep. 100%. Now, talk to me about, so guys, at the end of each kind of like seminar session throughout the days, like every single day, we end the day with a pretty intense breath work. Think of like an auditorium room with I don't know how many people were there, 400 people, 300 people,
More or
whatever it
less,
is.
yeah.
It's a large amount of people together doing breath work in unison with the perfect like music in the background, and it's magical. Now, excuse me, now I'm going to tell you, for me, I felt like I was so disconnected from myself and my feelings and my emotions, which again, this all started back in Vancouver, but I was still day one so disconnected from me, from my heart, from feeling, allowing my essentially allowing myself to feel, that I was so distracted during the first breath work. Okay, there's people who go and like you can feel their pain because they're physically feeling their own pain, and it's very difficult to understand that if you're not having your own experience. And I feel like that's what happened to me first day, where I felt like nothing happened, air quotes here, in the breath work, because I was so concentrated on everybody else, almost like a fear of also what are people going to think if I do have an experience and like, you know, have to voice it or use my voice. So I feel like I repressed myself, but again, I think I needed to that needed to happen first day to allow me to go in second day. So for me, breath work the first day was more of like just relaxing my body, and I did feel some tingling in my body, but nothing like I had nothing come up where when people got on the microphone, we have open mics during the whole session, and talked about their experience through breath work. Like some people are like seeing things and trees and avatars and all this stuff, and I'm like, am I broken? Like I questioned myself that first night. I was like, am I broken because I didn't see or feel anything? The contrary, that was the first time I heard your voice. What was your
Yeah,
experience?
because I share like public like every time that I could, because like that was also part of where I went to work on, like to speak up my voice, like I need to be who I am and be the most authentic self that I can, and just like speak up, because I normally would have been the shy person who would feel the need to talk, but like I wouldn't talk and anything, you know, like I wouldn't be brave enough to stand up and like to talk in front of people, because I would believe like my opinion wouldn't matter. So like it was less of like I would feel shy about it, but more of I don't feel like I am gonna bring value, so like I better stay quiet, you know?
Hmm.
So that day, like during the breath work, I that was my first time connecting with his breath work, because I did the online event and he did the same breath work, but I couldn't connect, like same as you. I couldn't feel anything, because like I was sitting, and then he said that we had to lay down, and then I kind of like fell asleep. It was kind of like very
Very relaxing.
I'm being honest, you know, like I was like, hey, I think I'm falling asleep, but so like I couldn't connect with it, and I felt like I didn't breathe properly. So like that's key for the breath work, of course, like because the rhythm of the breathing is like what's gonna make you connect with the meditation. So like I didn't do it good, like properly, let's say, and I didn't connect. So in the event on day one, I was like, hey, like I am gonna do this again, because I knew what was coming, if it was the same thing, I was like, okay, like I know like what kind of breathing we have to do. And I heard the testimonies from like the people on online, like they had like crazy experiences. Like they say like they connected with like aliens and like grandfathers, and I'm like, what, like didn't I connect, like this is crazy. Like I felt the same as you, like there's something wrong, but like consciously I knew that I didn't do it properly. I was like, okay, like this is why. So like next time I have a chance, like I am just gonna do it like full in. And that was this case in like day one. As I am doing the meditation, I felt like some pain on my back. It's just like a current thing that was coming up to me like some days before that. I went to like a sound healing, and that same pain came up on the same spot, and I'm like, oh, like this is coming up again. Like so,
Interesting.
I have been practicing meditation for more than 10 years. So like I have the knowledge that when your body is aching, it's like because it's trying to tell you something. So I'm like, okay, like I am gonna go with it and like see what this pain is trying to tell me. So as I start to kind of like move to make the pain go away, I ended up in fetal position. And as I am there, I am right back to my mom's womb. Like I just went back to my mom's womb,
Now, Angel,
and
when you
I
say when you say you went back to your mom's womb, like paint the picture for people. Like, do you mean like you physically saw yourself in your mom's womb, or was it a feeling?
That's a good question because it's like a little bit of both, right? So like
Okay.
because like you have your eyes closed, right? So like you don't really see anything. So like all of the things that we talk about that we see the relationship or like your dad is like it's all inside, like it's all
Yep.
happening in your mind, but it's not created by your mind, if that makes sense. So to me, when I just crawled to the side, I'm like I just saw it, and it's like weird to put it in the word because like it's not like you saw it, it's more of like a feeling, but you also have the visuals. It's kind of like
Yep.
weird to explain this out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I agree.
so I am there, and I just got all of these information, right? So like all of these things start to come down to you, and I just felt like fear, and I just started experiencing fear as I am in my mom's womb. I'm like, oh, like I am afraid. Like there's like this kind of sensation of anxiety and like fear that I don't know where it's come from, where it's coming from, but I felt it like very foreign, like it's not mine. Like I felt
Hmm.
like whatever I was going through, it wasn't mine. It's kind of weird to explain it, but I just
Hmm.
felt it. And I was like, okay, like this is something that my mom is going through, and I am just like experiencing it from like a third person kind of perspective, but because I am still connected to my mom.
Hmm.
So fast forward, like later that night, I'm talking to my mom. I asked her, like, hey mom, like when like you were pregnant with me, did you go through like a event that make you feel anxious or like fear? And like she said, like hey no, like not me. Like I didn't really go through anything, but a few months ago, like she did a family constellation thing that they took her into like a journey of when she was on her mom's womb, when like her mom, like my grandmother, was pregnant with my mom. And it turned out that when my mom went into month 5, I think, because like they do like monthly things, right? So like they have to like step into each month, and then like just like they just feel and kind of like go back to that moment. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So
that's
like when
wild.
yeah. So when my mom went into her month 5, I think it was, like she just felt that exactly what I felt, like fear, anxiety, like pain. And like then when like she was connecting the dots and like going back, because like she talked to her mom as well, she came to the conclusion that at that time, my grandmother lost a brother-in-law, like an uncle of mine, that was really close to her. So that was a very painful event for my grandmother that was passed on to my mom, hence was passed on to
Passed
me,
on to
which is
you.
yeah,
Wow.
which is crazy, right? Because I never thought that I was gonna be like so connected to events in that way, and like how that is affecting my life now. Because as I said at the beginning, I went through a journey of anxiety for like a whole year. Like I have panic attacks like constantly every day. So like this fear that I didn't know where it was coming from, and I am still kind of like discovering things up to this point, like after 10 years, and now like this is new information which I can relate somehow, like maybe why I am afraid of things and like why I feel anxious is coming from that event that was passed on to my mom and then passed on to me. And so like how I see it now is the same as genetics. Like you have genes from your great 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 grandmother or great 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 grandfather. So same way you're passed on emotions or events that deeply touched your ancestors are passed on to you now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, and actually, biologically, I think your grandmother, so your grandmother, let's be honest, all of her eggs existed when she had your mom, which means that your mom already, because the eggs of a woman are created in utero, all of the eggs, aka you and your siblings, were all inside of your mother at the same time that she was created inside of your grandma. So,
What? Wait. Come back on that.
yeah.
Come back on that,
Yeah,
please.
biology 101. Yeah, so okay, so I'll explain that. Okay, so biology is that like
Okay.
if you're a female, right? Females have the ovaries, that we have our eggs. The eggs are created at like the forming of the child in utero, so inside
Like
of
all
the
the
mom.
eggs that they're
All of
gonna
the
ever.
eggs, yes. Yes, all of the eggs that any woman is ever going to have is created inside the mother's womb. So, if it's a female inside of the womb, it's being created. So you were already inside of your mom's womb when she was inside of her mom's womb.
What? That's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane. That just
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Yeah, which
Wow.
it ends with you because you're not a female, but for your sisters it would be the same thing. Like they were already inside of your mom when she was inside of her mom. It's crazy. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. So like there is a deeper connection to that, and like that's crazy how like things work. Insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. So that was the first time that I heard Angel speak, was on that microphone sharing his experience. And I had actually heard him earlier throughout the day because you did share something. I don't remember what it was, but you did share something. And that was the first glance that I had at you. And you were sitting behind me and you had glasses on. But then I heard him speaking through his experience here in the first breathwork. And I remember thinking to myself, like, something about him, like it doesn't vibe with me. Okay, stick with us, okay, for the rest of this, because we'll get
This is
there.
this is gonna unfold. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all gonna unfold of why we're here now, why we're friends. But yeah, I remember thinking like, yeah, his vibe is not my vibe. Like like I don't mix, I won't mix with him. Like whatever, right? In fact, when he shared his experience, because I didn't have my own experience, and maybe this was coming from jealousy, I was just like kind of roll my eyes, and I was like, sure, I'm sure that he had that experience, you know.
Yeah,
Super judgmental. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Super judgmental. So let's go on to day two because this is all going to tie in. Day two comes around and it's like building off of the emotion of day one. We did a few exercises, and obviously we don't want to tell you guys everything that we did because if you're going to plan to go to Awaken, which you should, we don't want to rob you of that experience. But we do want to share, how him and I met. So day two comes around. We do a couple of exercises, very intense, like emotional work. Like I remember at lunchtime just feeling so drained. And there was one exercise where, he said, walk around the room, and he's like, we're going to talk about racism, and essentially the basis of racism is just judgment. And I remember thinking when he said that, I'm like, that does make a lot of sense, because if we actually look at what racism is, and not just color of your skin, but like in general, right? Like minority groups and like all of these labels that people put on themselves, essentially it's just a judgment thing. You're just judging somebody by whatever, color of the skin, a minority, whatever it is. So I remember him saying, like, we're going to address the race issue that exists in the world. And if people were to do this, we would solve racism. And I was like, fuck, another bold claim. Like, okay, let's, we're going all in. Let's go all in. So he asked us to walk around the room and find someone that you normally would not interact with in person. And that was it. That was the instruction. He said, when you find that person, don't say anything else. Just say, like, either I pick you or whatever, and then we'll go on to why we do that. So I'm walking around the room, and it was fairly quick, and I see Angel coming towards me. He was just looking for his person too. And as he's coming near, I grabbed his arm and I said, I'm sorry, but I gotta pick you. And I remember your face, and you were just like taken aback,
Okay.
right? You
Yeah,
were like,
yeah.
all right. You were like, all right, I guess it's me. And then Danny says, now if you pick somebody, because obviously this was going to be initiated by one of the two in the partnership, you then have to tell them why you judge them, why you picked them, why you would never approach them in person. And during our first recording, I told him that I kind of fibbed and lied a little bit. So I told him the truth here. We're going to go through it again. So
Yes.
originally, I told him in person that the reason that I had chosen him was because the first day that he spoke and during his, the time on the microphone, I had judged him thinking like, I could see his small little eyes behind his glasses, and he just looked high. Like he looked like he was on drugs.
But I
He looked
was
like
not. I was
you
not,
were,
guys. I
I
swear.
know. Yeah, he was not, but he definitely looked like he was, in my opinion. And so I have this thing, and I guess it's from, I don't know if it's a cultural thing of my own family growing up, but like if you consume drugs or do drugs, like that's always been a huge no no in our family, and it's always been very judged on. And I grew up with that. I grew up with like, if don't hang out with the wrong crowd, don't hang out with people that like are not succeeding in life. And to them, drugs equated non successful. And I always grew up thinking like that's not what I want. So I hadn't touched a single drug in my entire life because I grew up with that perception. So when I saw him speaking and I saw the squinty eyes, to me for some reason I was like, yeah, this guy's high for sure. That's not somebody who I would associate outside in public. So I told him that in person because that was the exercise. Tell them why you judge them. And he starts laughing, right? What I didn't tell him in person was that I was also judging him from his nose ring. And the
This
reason that
one,
I was,
guys.
yeah, that one, that tiny little one. And the reason, honestly, for that one is because same thing. Like that was always in my family associated with like not being successful, or like not like something's wrong with you if you want to pierce your body other than a girl piercing their ears. And it's funny because I have my, like, I don't know what this is called. It's like a cartilage pierce on top of my ear. And my mom to this day still hates it. Like to this day. Her only request for the day that I got married was that I remove that so that it wasn't in the pictures. And I didn't. I was very like firm in that, right? Love her, but that was like her thing. Like, please just get rid of it. Like my family were cattle farmers in Venezuela, and my aunts, when they first saw that, she was just like, that the only thing that has that in their ear is a cow when they get branded. And I was like, or when they get tagged, I was like, well, like, good for you. I love it. So I don't know why the judgment came for your piercing, but I'm assuming now, looking back at it, it was my own defense of like, I guess, I don't know how to describe it, but like my parents didn't like it, my family didn't like it, and so it must be a bad thing, and I was a rebel for doing it, right? So I projected that onto you. So that was the reason I judged him. And then Danny said, everything in life happens perfectly, and the person that chose you, if you were not the one that chose them, that's the perfect partner for you. And so, Anya kind of looked at me. He's like, I mean, I don't think so. Like, I don't think I would have chosen you. And then Danny says, okay, let's talk to each other and see if there's a commonality there. I'll let you take that one away.
Yes, turn out, spoiler that yes, she was my perfect partner, and like how things worked out was when like she told me, "Hey, you are my guy." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, this is odd, like I really was kind of like expecting me to choose someone. I was like, okay, like who would I choose? Like I didn't have really any kind of like judgment in mind, and I'm just like walking around just to see who I could pick, and then I just get picked, and I'm like, oh, okay, people judge me, I guess.
Sorry.
But which
Sorry.
is which is which is fine, because like I actually went through like that judgment through my not my whole life, but like through like a big chunk of my life. Because when I started going to like the corporate world as an engineer in the oil and gas, it's like there are like a lot of standards in like how you should behave and like how you should look, and like I was like 23 years old when I started working for the oil and gas, and I am just like this young guy that is just like getting out of college, just wanting to live experience, and like I was growing my hair at that time, and I'm vegetarian. I have like my long hair, and then I am put in like a corporate world. And it's like I didn't fit, you know? So I started hearing people kind of like judging me because I had a long hair, because I didn't have this piercing at that time, but yeah, just like for physical appearances and like
Crazy.
maybe things that I would say, you know. So like I could see how people would judge me for being me, and I kind of like never got affected by it because like I knew like I am a great person, I am a good professional, I do my thing, but I decide to look the way I look, and like that's fine, you know. So like when you chose me, like it really didn't surprise me like deep down. It's like, okay, well, like it's fine. And like then when like you told me the reason, it's like, okay, well, that makes sense, you know. Like I know that I look high with like these squinty eyes,
Tiny
like
eyes.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like okay, it's okay. But then like the plot twist comes when like she told me like I asked you like, hey, where are you from? And like you said, I am from Venezuela, and I'm like, what? I am from Venezuela too. Like that's crazy. And like that is what made her my perfect partner, because I wouldn't have chosen a person from Venezuela because I
Mm.
had that judgment towards my community, towards the people from South America or like Latinos. It's like whenever I go to like a new country, I go out with everyone but Latinos. It's like for real. It's like okay, like I see a Venezuelan and then I just look to the
Run.
other. Yeah, it's like okay, I don't want to talk to you. But there was like this judgment that I had because I had in mind like some kind of specific type of Venezuelans that are outside of the country that kind of like make us have like a bad reputation or like a bad image. So I had that in mind, and like that was where my judgment was coming from. Plus, if we go deeper, which we went into that exercise, that now after the time that we met and like we talk, then Danny told us just like go sit, touch your knees, and let's just do like an eye gazing. So like we sat for what, like 10, 15 minutes, I don't
Yeah.
know, and
I
like
don't
we
know either.
sat like staring at each other's eyes, like eye gazing, and like that was the whole exercise. So like things that came up to me, and I will let you tell your part later, to me was okay when I saw Maria. I saw all the judgment I put on my community, on Latinos, on Venezuelans, just for being a people that come from a particular part of the world. Like it's not like racism. It's like I don't know how would that fit. It's like I don't know, like some kind of yeah, judgment.
Like judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, in general. So like I had this huge judgment for Latinas, and when I saw Maria, I saw myself in her, and I'm like, wow, like this judgment, I am putting all of this judgment on myself because I am part of that community. I am part of like these people, and I don't accept who I am and like where I come from. So like the whole thing made me realize that I had a judgment for who I was and where I came from, which is crazy
Yeah, that's deep.
because I never thought of me don't feeling good about my roots, but deep down I had that judgment. And the truth is that we're amazing people. You, Maria, you are an amazing representation of our country. And like I don't mean it like to divide, because that was also like some rabbit hole that I went through like a long time ago. Like you don't identify myself as a nationality, you know? Like I don't like to say I'm Venezuelan, but I honor where I come from, but I don't like to put myself in a box, you know? And like sometimes I guess that we're forced to do it, but now I see it like, okay, like I can put myself in a label to fit in a community. Makes sense, but not
Yeah,
to
that makes sense.
define who I am. So when I was doing the eye gazing with you, so our, our community just like being so good as well. And of course, we have like bad representations in like and like bad people, but like that's in any culture and in
Yeah, that's
any kind of
everywhere.
country. It's not like tied down just to being a Latino. So that experience was like a very deep, emotionally charged experience to me. And then I just start crying because I saw her like so pure and like so beautiful. And it's like, okay, like, wow, like, why am I judging this person that is like, has like such a good light? And like, now that I see what you do, like later on, it's like, oh, like, she's amazing, like you're an amazing
Oh,
person. And I
thank
really
you.
look up to you. And it's like, wow, like, how am I even able to judge that? And so like that was my takeaway from that eye gazing experience. And now I'll let you tell your part because that was like a
Yeah.
completely different experience as well.
Yeah, completely. I'm gonna tell it after I pee. 1 second.
Yeah. Go ahead. You're back.
Flash pee.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh lordy. Okay. Yeah, eye gazing experience. Yeah, that was intense to say the very least. I was really uncomfortable at first, I'm not gonna lie. I thought like I think the only person I've ever eye gazed is with my husband. I'm like, this feels weird. Like I've never done this with a stranger before. And then all of the emotions like started coming up for both of us, right? Like you started crying, and obviously, by the way, guys, we don't speak during this. It is simply looking into each other's eyes. There's no communication. He asks us just to be quiet and just eye gaze. So I have no idea what's going on in his mind, right? Like I don't know why he's crying. I don't know what he's thinking. And same thing, he doesn't know what I'm thinking or why I'm crying or any of it. Oh my god. Cuando no son los carajitos es el perro. Unbelievable.
literal,
Mira.
estaba pensando eso, ¿eh?
I'm gonna put that in there because it's too good. Hey, hey, psychopath. Nike, come here. He weighs like 6 pounds. He thinks he's gigantic. Get up here. Okay, right here. Anyways, yeah. So it's intense, and it's like he doesn't know what I'm thinking. I start crying, and it was like waves, right? Like I cried, and then I would come back to like whatever I was thinking, and then I would cry. So here's what was going through in my head. I that whole time was like I started to see the beauty of Angel instead of the judgmental eyes that I had approached him with. He had taken his glasses off, and I was like seeing his small little eyes. And then I started to notice that like all of his lashes were really curled. And I was like, wow, he's got some I know. I got like super detailed, right? I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
I have all this time. I don't know how long we're gonna be here for. Like let's check out what I'm looking at. And yeah, I started to notice like gorgeous eyelashes, like just perfectly curled, beautiful color eyes, like just the physical. It was first the physical, like why am I judging this person? Like why did I even judge this person when now being forced to look at him, I was like, this is a handsome man, like gorgeous eyes. Like first of all, I'm a dental hygienist, so when I looked at your teeth and you smiled for the first time, I was like, stunning teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. So I started to like look at his physical, and I was like, how did I even get to this judgment point of like I wouldn't hang out with him in person if I had seen him walking on the street over something that I'm just physically looking at. Then I noticed his like nose ring, and I know at the time I hadn't told you, but like I noticed the nose ring, and all I thought of like I didn't go and touch my ring up top, but I'm like, I also have a piercing that people judge. Like, how could I then turn it on him and judge him for that? And I'm like looking at you physically, and then there was a point in the eye gazing that I swear to God, I was seeing your soul. And part of my crying was me, like how judgmental I was. And then I had a wave of like, okay, calmness. And then the second time I remember that I started crying like pretty deeply and it was really heavy was because it was almost like I was seeing your pain. And at the time, I didn't know that you had suffered with anxiety and like panic attacks. But I also have family members who have suffered through that and have seen that physically represented in them. And it was almost like I could see that you had been holding on to so much pain and difficulty. I saw your soul, and I sat there, and it was a realization for me of like, how dare I judge another human being without knowing what their soul looks like? And everybody's journey is different. And it's funny because now relating it, it's actually really good that the first recording didn't work, because now I have another experience with you on that. I can't say the day because I don't want to I don't want to give away who my patients are, but I had a patient come in during this time and after Awaken, and I remember thinking so poorly of this person just because of how they presented. And I remember judging, not poorly of like their judgment of who they are, but just of the physical representation of
Sure.
what they walked in with. And as I was speaking to this person during the appointment, and like I love my patients, and I have a great connection with all of them, and building the rapport with like someone new that comes and trusts me with their oral health. Like I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this person, and the more we talk, the more I'm like, this is going to sound weird because this is not traditional life, guys. Like people are not used to using this terminology, but the more I fell in love with this person. And there's love that you can have for your romantic partner, and there's love you can have for other humans, and we've just fallen off of saying that to people, right? Wow, I went on a tangent. But what I'm saying is, I started to see this person for their soul, for the person that they are, for the essence of what makes them them through conversation. And it was like a flashback moment of you as I'm doing this appointment. I had already started cleaning the teeth and all the, I'm like cleaning the teeth in my meditation. I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what happened with Angel. Like, I judged this person for their physical, and it turns out that they're a beauty of a person, like a beauty of a person. So it's not like you do the healing work and you're just, you go on your merry way and everything's better off that way. It's constant work. But now I'm realizing that I can pick up when, like, those old patterns, or when I'm like judging someone for the simple fact of what they look like. And I realize, like, it was a mind shift by the end of the appointment, like hugging this person, like absolutely different energy than when I brought this person back into the chair. And I thank my experience with you for that. And I thank Awaken for that, because I remember sitting across from you and looking at your soul. And now I feel like I have the capacity, because you opened that in me, to be able to now look at the souls of other people through their eyes. It's crazy.
And that's beautiful.
Crazy.
And that's a
Yeah.
beautiful experience because they say that the eyes are the window to the soul, right? Like the door to the soul. So that's a beautiful thing way of putting it. And I actually had a similar experience. Like I can connect it to the experience I had with you yesterday, actually, like last night. So I am
No
also
way.
glad, like, yeah, yeah. So I am also glad we're doing this today because yesterday I went to like a party in Guyana. That's where I am now. Every time that I would go out here in Guyana, like I wouldn't connect with the type of music they play as a culture. And it's like this music, like I don't know how these people enjoy this. And like I had like this kind of like judgment towards their culture. And last night I didn't know why I even went, because like I am not like drinking, I'm not like in party mode. But a friend of mine that I had like a long time without seeing her, she was going there. And like she said, yeah, you should come. Let's meet. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm just gonna go to say hi to you and just chill, I guess. And when I was there, like I saw like how the community of this country were just like vibing and enjoying this type of music. And it's like who am I to judge what they listen to? Like after this experience that I have with you, like this kind of like judgment towards cultures, which I didn't feel like I had a judgment towards cultures in general, because like I travel a lot and I am curious to get to know cultures. But when I get to compare it with who I am, I guess, like with my culture and like the things that I like doing, like that type of music is like, oh, like I don't really vibe with that. And like I have like that judgment particularly for people from here from Guyana, because like this is where I work. And like that's the things that I listen to from my coworkers. And like that's kind of like an acquired judgment, let's put it in
Hmm.
that. So I realized last night that, oh, like these people is happy, like they are just like vibing and like enjoying. And like why I was judging them before. So it came up to like a full circle. And it's the same thing that you said, right? Like you realize about something, but it's a day-to-day life that is gonna test that work.
Yep.
Like are you really doing the work like on a daily basis? And are you really integrating that experience into your life afterwards?
Yeah, it's crazy how it brought to awareness, right? Because like I think I don't remember if it was the first day or something, or during one of those days, where he said like, if you don't have awareness of yourself and what you are doing, then you can't commit to the change. You can't take the action steps to change. And when you said like people like you don't know why you went, well, you went exactly to experience the change that you had in at Awaken, and it was like it aligned perfectly for you. It's crazy, but you only came to that conclusion because you are now aware of it, which I find such a beautiful thing. Now we've done day 1, day 2. Let's talk about day 3, which is the most powerful day out of all. They're all powerful, but it builds on to this day. There is a certain thing that we did there that we are bound to secrecy and not tell you guys, because if you go, you need to experience this for yourself. But there are moments that we share with you guys, and I can start here, Angel, and I'll share that. For me, one of the most magical moments of that day was the morning. We started the morning, the last day of our entire 3 days, with an ecstatic dance. And it's not new to me because I have friends that do it here. I've never actually been to an ecstatic dance before. I'm a dancer. I used to dance professionally, same with my husband.
Damn, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so
So cool.
I love it. Like I absolutely love dance. I think it frees the soul, it frees the mind, like it lets you express yourself in different ways. However, technical dance and choreography is completely different than ecstatic dance. And I realized that very quickly as soon as we got there, that when they started playing the music and there was a girl named Maria who was, guiding the whole dance, I was like a stick. Like I could not move. I was just like
No
side
way.
to side. Yeah, I was so uncomfortable. I was just like, I could see people like moving their hands, and I'm like, this is not judgment again, but I was like, this is not dance. Like, I'm used to like stepping it out and like
Structured, yeah, structured.
structured, right?
Yeah.
And it took me a good like 20 minutes for me to finally get into it. And when I got into it, like I was drenched in sweat by the end of it, because it was like he had said something like, when was the last time that we do this where we just turn on music and we dance? And I thought of like my kids, where I sometimes, if they're like having like a rush morning or anything, I feel like their energy's too high, I'll just put on music on a speaker and they just like
And they
go at it.
just dance. It's just
Oh yeah.
yes. I love seeing kids
Yeah.
dancing. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so
They
free.
just,
They're so
yeah,
free. Yeah.
so free. That's literally the perfect description. So free. And I remember thinking that like 20 minutes in, like, why am I stuck like a stick? And then thinking, like, no, my kids just go at it. And I just started going. I was like, this feels so good. And now I understand what that is. So for me, that was such a magical moment. But there then turned into, I'll actually let you share this part because he organized the men first. And I knew what was coming because this is actually on social media. You can see what we're about to talk about. But take it away how he set that up.
Yes. So I just wanted to mention a bit about the static dance because like that's a that like we didn't talk about this before, and I do believe like this is a very powerful experience because on day 1 when I was doing like my registration and stuff, the lady that was like doing my sign up, she asked me like, "Hey, you came along?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I did come along." And like she said, "Hi, there's like this guy from Mexico. His name is Elias, and like he's alone as well. So like you might meet him." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, fine." I was like, "Yeah, I mean there are like like hundreds of people here. Like how am I gonna meet this guy?" And I'm like, "Okay, fine, yeah, thank you, right?" And then as I sit on like day 1, I was like day 1. As I sit on like a random chair, there is like this guy next to me, and I sit and I say hi, and then he said, "My name is Elias," and I'm like, "What? Are you from Mexico?" And he's like, "Yes." "Oh man, I hear about you." I told him, and then so
Get
like,
out.
yes, crazy experience. So like we were really kind of like meant to meet during that experience, and like we were kind of like besties during the whole weekend, right? So like we went for lunch and like we hung out, and then when like the static dance came, like I think like we did some dancing before that, if I'm not wrong. Like Danny was kind of like saying something, and like he told me like I can dance. Like he tells me like I don't know how to dance, and like he felt like really stiff, and he was kind of like my little brother like that weekend, right? So like I was kind of like guiding him to like pushing him to like experience things, and like when like we started doing the static dance, I saw him, and like he was like behind, like standing stiff, and I and I called him and I'm like, "Bro, come here, man, come here." And then I was like, I was kind of like guiding him to like move his body and like to feel. And then he just got loose, and like he just started like dancing, and like afterwards he told me like, man, like now I can see like what the hype is about dancing, because like he never moved, like he never allowed his body to feel the music, and like it was in that
Wow.
static dance experience where he really like allowed himself to dance. And like he told me that like, man, like I am now excited for this. And like he messaged me like a few days back that he started doing salsa now with
Oh
his mom.
my God.
Yeah, so
It's
like now
amazing.
he's like really, yeah. So like dancing is like such a deep experience that if you don't allow your body to move, like if you're listening and like you're like that kind of person that doesn't move, like just allow yourself to do it. Like turn the lights on, off, turn the music on, be alone in like your room and allow yourself to move along without judgment. And like that's so freeing. That's amazing. So
100%.
going back to the next exercise, they call men apart, and like they say like, if you are a man, just like go to the front of the stage, and like then we're walking to it. And at that time I didn't know what the exercise was going to be about. Like then when like they said like, men are going to be here and like women are going to go to the stage, like on top of the stage. I'm like, oh, like I saw in like their videos that they would do this thing that like where like women or people would just like jump on top of the crowd, and like the crowd would like lift them. But I didn't know like that was like a masculine thing. I always thought that that was like random people that wanted to just like rock and like feel like a rock star and jump. So when like they said that, I'm like, hey, like I am just gonna go because I am a man. And but I didn't have like really much expectations about that exercise. I really thought that that was more of like a fun thing. So as I am going there, then they told us like what the exercise is gonna be like. Like women are gonna jump on like towards us, and like we're gonna hold them and lift them. But like we couldn't like touch their parts. Like we would have to be very careful about like where we put our hands, and like kind of like treat it as a sacred thing, because like woman at that point would be like very vulnerable to jump to us. So long story short, like they line up like a bunch of women to jump, and like then here we are as men just saying, "We got you." We were just screaming, "We got you, we got you." And as we are doing that, I am standing next to like 6 feet guys, like 6'2" feet guy, and I'm like, am I really gonna play a role here? Like, I am 5'5", right? So it's like I don't know if I am really gonna hold anyone, you know? So I'm like there just standing just for the fun of it. And as like women start to jump in, like of course like the taller guys just like hold them. And I am really like not doing an effort to do it, because like I felt like I wouldn't be able to do anything. I was like, well, I am just here standing. And then we're just like screaming like, I got you, we got you, we got you. And then as the hype started to build up, I just started feeling like so much fun. It's like, oh, this is so much fun. Like I am here just jumping with like a bunch of guys, like just having fun. And then I started to realize that when like one woman would jump, like they would jump like right down, like they wouldn't jump like this, like they would jump like this, like as if they were gonna go to like a pool, you know? So as I started like actively doing things like to hold them, I realized that they would just come first straight at me, and then I would just like support them, and then the taller guys would just like held them high. So I'm like, oh, like I actually play a role here, like it
I
doesn't
love that.
matter if I am short or whatever, like I really play a role among this group of guys. And fun story, I see my friend, my Mexican friend, he's like again like behind, like back on the back, and then I saw him like, you come here again, man, you gotta do this. So like I was really pushing him. So like then he did it, and he had fun as well. But to me, like that experience like really made me connect with my masculinity, because like as I was talking to you the last time, I grew up not being the conventional type of man. like I didn't like sports, like I didn't like football. Like most of men, I wouldn't connect with them. My best friends were girls, so like I was like a really different kind of man. So like I always was judged about my masculinity, like if I was gay, if I was this and that, you know.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, so like these kind of like judgment kind of like affect me, my masculinity, and like I actually had like some sexual trauma as well that we can talk about that in another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like what really wounded my masculinity. So like that trauma tied to the kind of man I was, like really affected my masculinity. So I really felt like I wouldn't connect with guys in the same way. Like I didn't feel like I belonged to men. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I am a different kind of man and I don't belong to kind of like manhood. Although like I have like good male friends, like my brother is like my best friend, and like he's a guy, and like we do like guy things and stuff. But like deep down, I felt like I didn't like I wasn't masculine enough. So like this exercise just made me connect with my masculinity. Like I just felt like a guy. I felt like wow, this is so like primal. Like I felt like a monkey. You know, like yeah, you know, like a gorilla. Yeah, I am a man. Let's go, jump here. We got you. You know, like that was the vibe. So like I really felt like I played a role for like first like I am a man. I am a fucking man. Like it doesn't matter what you do, like what experiences you have been going through. Like if you are physically a man, like if you are born with like balls and a stick, like you are a man. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you are or like what you have done. Like you are a man. So like you just gotta connect with your masculinity and just like live it through. So like that experience just like made me connect with my masculinity, and I just felt part of the crew. Like, yeah, this is my crew, these are my guys. Like we were all vibing and having fun, and it was like one of the best experiences, if not the most fun experience from that event. Like to me it was so much fun. And then as I am receiving one woman saying like holding them, like having fun, there was like this woman that is coming. I saw her coming, and then I hold her two hands and I lift her. And as I see, it's Maria, it's you.
Yeah.
And and then we are all like screaming. Like at that point, I was at the peak of my experience. I was having so much fun. Like we got you, we got you. And when I saw you, I was like, oh my God, it's Maria. And then I scream at you, yeah, we got you.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw like our eyes, like I pierced at your soul, and like your soul pierced at mine. Like we were just like connecting. That was like a split second, right? Like
Yep.
that was like a
Yep.
very
Split
quick thing,
second.
but like we really connected again. And like after the experience we had with the eye gazing, I think I didn't see you again around.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and like then like the next day I saw you again in that specific moment, which was like very profound and beautiful. So um tell us like how was it for you to like get to that moment where we connected again?
Yeah, so it's crazy because I was not going to do that. And I'll tell you the reason why. That Danny had said like when he was setting all of you guys up, everybody was already kind of set up. There were actually two areas where women were jumping, right? Like there were two, it wasn't just one line, there were two. And he had said like any woman that feels like you do not trust men, this is the opportunity to shatter that and begin to trust men again. And I knew that they were going to jump because I had seen this on videos and I didn't go. And my friends went, like the people that I was there went, I could see them lining up and one going after the other. I recorded a bunch of people. I'm like, this is amazing. Meanwhile, music's still going. We're still dancing. My friend comes off of the stage and she comes over and she was like, did you do it? And I said, no. And she was like, you need to go do it. That was so fun. And I said to her, I was like, yeah, but this is for women who like have a trust issue with men, and I don't have a trust issue with men. I love men. And she literally looks at me and she was like, seems like you need to go do it. And
You
I'm
have to
like,
do it.
yeah, I'm like, okay. So in my head, I went to go jump for fun, essentially. Yeah, I want to be a rock star. When else am I going to crowd surf,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
So I lined up. I start like in the line. You're right. This was like at the peak of the music. Like the music was probably the best. Like lights are dimmed. Like everything was just perfect scenario. And I'm standing in line like dancing, dancing, dancing. And then I see like the first girl in front of me go, the second girl. And now I have one person in front of me before the stage. And I start to feel sick. And I was like, okay, like, what is this resistance? So now I stopped dancing. And the people in line were like, keep dancing. And I'm like, no, like, I don't want to do this. So I was going to turn to leave. And another girl behind me was like, this is why you need to do it. And I'm like, okay. So I get
I
on stage.
guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm doing this. So I start getting on stage, like I start coming up, and I'm still feeling very uncomfortable. And maybe, like, in my head, I was trying to rationalize the discomfort. I'm like, I wonder if it's just discomfort because, like, yeah, these are all random strangers. I'm gonna jump into their arms. This feels weird to me. And then as I'm like walking through stage, one of the helpers, like one of the volunteers, sticks his hand out and he grabs my hand and he brings me into the center of the stage, and there was a massive spotlight. And I was like, no. And he's like, are you ready? And I said, no, I'm not. And I start to like, my eyes start watering, and I'm like, where is this distrust coming from? And all of like a situation in my childhood, which we'll leave all that sexual trauma and all that stuff for a different episode, but it
Yes.
all tied into that moment. And I was like, no, like I apparently now I'm feeling like I don't actually trust men. That yes, there are certain men in my life that I have close to me and that are like very, important in my life. And similar to you, how your best friends were all female, actually my best friends are mostly male. And so yeah, and so for me it was just like, why am I feeling so much resistance and discomfort? And I remember that man holding my hand and just saying to me, like, you take your time, you jump when you're ready. And I don't know how long I was there, but I remember just standing there, standing there, and seeing like two other girls jump. And when I finally looked at him and I said, okay, I think I'm ready. And yeah, it felt like a very liberating moment the second that like you jump. Because yeah, it's exhilarating because you're still jumping in a crowd of people. But I jumped, and I remember first closing my eyes, thinking like, I don't want to see anybody's face. Like I don't want to see any of these men. Like I don't want to recognize anybody that's holding me up the next day or like later on in the day, because that was our last one. I just remember thinking like, yes, support me, but I don't want to see you. And I now, after doing some journaling around that, I realized because my childhood experience of my trauma was that I would close my eyes while certain things were happening. And I remember hearing your voice, and that's when I opened my eyes. When you said, we got you, Maria, and I opened my eyes, and you were the one holding both my hands, and it was like, what the hell just, what the hell is happening? Literally, I was just like, what is, out of all of these men in the crowd, I'm jumping
I
into
know.
random strangers, it's you who I see. It just kind of confirmed the safetiness. It was almost like you were a representation, essentially, of all the men in the room, but because I had already connected with you, you needed to be in that specific location to catch me, my hands, for me to say, this is where
I
I need to let
trust.
go of that
Yeah.
distrust. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
beautiful.
wild. Wild. Yeah. So when I got off the stage, though, then all the emotions that I have suppressed came up, and I start crying. And Maria, the girl who had led the dance, she was at the end of the stage, like leading the women out off the stage. And she literally pulled me aside and she was like, I think you need this. And she gave me a hug without saying anything. And I just like, I'm like, how do these people know? you know? I like stood there on stage crying with her, and I'm like, like just having the whole moment. And then finally I relaxed, and only when I relaxed, like she was like, okay, I'll let you go. And then, yeah, it was such a profound moment because I was like, well, this is very, very powerful. I thought I was going to have fun and crowd surf, and it turned out to be an unlocking of so many other things that was just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, so
Wow.
that was
Wow.
the start of day three. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the beginning of day three. And like day three to me was like the most profound day, And I don't know if we are gonna touch on the last exercise or we are gonna just encourage people to go and attend, because that is like the most profound day. And just to kind of like circle back to the statement of 30 years of therapy in 3 days, absolutely right. Absolutely
Absolutely.
right.
Proved me
Absolutely. So
wrong.
yes.
Hmm.
And to me, like my expectations, I had like really high expectations about this event, and like it exceeded my expectations. So
Oh yeah.
just go
Yeah.
go and
Yeah.
experience it for yourself.
Yeah. I think we're not going to share what happens the last exercise. It would be unfair to all of you. So we are going to encourage you to go to an Awaken and experience that for yourself. Very transformative. For the last few things that we want to say, Angel, to whoever's listening, what would you say? Like, how would you talk to someone and tell them why they should go?
I do feel like every person that goes there, they feel the calling too. So what I would say is just like hear that calling and follow your guts. And even if it's not this event in particular, like life is gonna put you and is gonna kind of like plant some seeds for you to work and heal yourself and like your processes. So what I would say is just like follow that gut feeling and do it. And like don't doubt, don't analyze it. And if you are gonna do it, just like go with the mindset that you went. Just prove me wrong.
Yeah.
But do it anyway.
Yep. Yep. I think I'm going to piggyback on you before we end off here and say that that's exactly how I would view it and how I would tell people. I've actually I think recruited now a bunch of people to go, and I would say apart from your like gut intuition and telling you, something is guiding you towards that, like it did for me. I know that some people are going to listen to this and say, well, I don't need to fix anything. Like, I don't have wounds. I don't have father, mother traumas. I don't have sexual traumas. And first thing I want to say is, nobody needs to be fixed. We're all perfectly created and you are perfectly created. It's not something that you go to these events, whether it's Awaken or anything else, because you feel like you need to fix something. That's not the purpose of this. I think all of us, if we went on a personal development, spiritual, like inner deep work journey, you would be able to understand the things that have happened in your life and connect dots that maybe you haven't connected right now. And at the same time, start to see the world and your relationships with everybody, whether that's in motherhood or whether that's in your romantic relationships or friendships, in such a different light that you honestly come out from these events a different person. I've experienced this coming back from Awaken, where my family has said, like, what happened there? Like, my husband said to me, what happened there that you came back and you are a different person in the most peaceful, honoring way to like our kids, to our marriage, to like your Nike, to our relationship with your brothers. I came back a different person essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So if you listened up to this point, first, I want to thank you personally and also let you know that something inside of you is connecting with this story and like this transformation. So that means that there's something about this that is mirroring your processes. So just like go with it. It's like being spiritually fit. I talk about this with like some friend like a few days back. Like it's like building muscle, like you can go through your life just like don't working out and like don't being physically fit the same way it is gonna be with like your soul and like your spirit. Like you can go through life and like don't even look inside and like don't work on your things. If you really wanna be physically fit, you have to go through, you have to walk, you have to run, you have to go to the gym. Same thing is for the spirit. Like you really gotta go inside and like do their work. So like this is like a spiritual gym that you're gonna go through, like these experiences. So just do it. And as you said, like you are not broken. Like you don't need to be fixed, but your soul deserves to be heard and transcended. So that's that.
There is no better send off. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Angel. Geez, amazing. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.